This is the new Alfa Romeo Giulia, a rather handsome Italian saloon car which answers to the likes of the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class. However, to compete in that segment, Alfa has some big shoes to fill. So I've got a few hours to find out what the company's all-new car is like to drive, and more importantly, how it fares out to its rivals. So then, driving the Alfa Romeo Giulia, this one is a non-quadrifoglio, and I'm glad it isn't, because I'm really intrigued to see what the standard saloon car is like, because we can always get a little bit thrilled with the 510 horsepower. Anyway, this one is the 2.1 litre turbocharged diesel. You can get it in two power outputs. One is 140 odd horsepower. This one is 184 horsepower, and 0 to 60 in 7 seconds, and you're on to 140 miles an hour. Now, it's the same sort of figures that you find on part of a BMW 3 Series 320d, and I've driven that car, and that is a very, very good car. Now, we've got to bear in mind, Alfa Romeo hasn't done a rear-wheel drive saloon car in the last 25 years, so you need to give them a little bit of slack. And, well, I've spent the last hour in this car, and do you know what? I am super, super impressed by it. The things that strike you the most is its beautiful styling. The car just looks fantastic. I mean, it's got really nice hips and shoulders over the front. I know looks is to everybody's different taste, but this is just such an elegant thing, and I'm sure we can all agree that this is a very pretty car. And on the inside, it's also very beautiful. The styling, in fact, the whole center console where the dashboard sweeps over to the instrument dials, and I love how this infotainment screen sort of blends in. It's not like a sort of iPad screen just plonked on top of it. It's just a really, really nice place to be, and the materials are really good too. You get nice soft plastics right up the top. Yes, some of the plastics below is low rent, but you can't really knock it, and you're never going to be looking down, are you? And the steering wheel, the overall design of it is just so nice. I mean, you look at it, you just think, wow, and you've got the starter button right next to you, which gives you a little bit of familiarities to a Ferrari. And you've got these beautiful aluminium paddles, which you just want to touch and stroke, and pulling them just feels expensive, and it's just a really nice place to be. And you might be thinking, well, to drive it might not be as good as some of its rivals. Well, I'm glad to say that this is a really good driving car. But before we get onto the performance side of things, I'm going to drive it like a business exec. So what's it like on the move when you're driving it subtly? Well, this car is spec'd with the adaptive DNA system that Alfa Romeo does. So you have a normal, dynamic, and another efficiency mode. And I spend most of the time in normal. And I'm sure it comes with the adaptive dampers as well too, because I do find that the ride is also, going from firm to soft. And in normal mode, the ride is really good. It's got really nice travel, and it's got good control over the bends. And the steering is also very light, but you can thread it with so much accuracy. And what happens is you just turn the car, it's ever so slightly. But overall, the ride quality is really good. Only over the harshest of stuff it starts to get a little bit upset, but then the roads are pretty harsh, full stop. H point and seating position is perfect. You're sitting low down. I can get the wheel close to my chest, which is really, really good. And the visibility is also fantastic in this car too. So Alfa Romeo is targeting this car to obviously the German market, and there are some really good saloon cars out there. We've got the new A4, which is a rather lovely car to be in. Really nice interior, good cabin quality. It's just one of them really, really good cars. Might be a little bit dull, sorry Audi. You've got the BMW 3 Series 320d, which to me is the benchmark car, and it has been for quite some time. And you've also got the Mercedes C-Class too. Now, where does this Alfa sit? Well, let's just do a bit more driving. In fact, let's just knock it over to dynamic mode and play with the paddles. Now, this car's got the 8-speed ZF gearbox, and the calibration and software upgrades on it is just really good. The ratios are pitch perfect. Obviously, this is a diesel, so revs are a little bit short. And the steering, although it is quite light, you can place it exactly where you want on the road. Brakes are nice and superb as well too. The engine, well, it hasn't got the best of responses, but you know what? It's not too bad. You mean, you know, what's a turbocharged four-cylinder, what you're going to expect. And the economy is actually really good too. Alfa claims that this car will do 60 odd miles to the gallon, but it seems to not drink any fuel whatsoever. I've been averaging about 40 miles to the gallon, and that was just a mixture of driving. So you can see easily 400 miles on the tank. But going back to the actual driving, what is this like compared to a 3 Series? Well, this car has got really good sporting credentials. It really is a good car to drive. And I'm not saying that because it's an Alfa Romeo. I'm not giving it any sympathy at all. It's just a really good driving car. Like I said, the steering is so accurate. And because you're not having to put much lock, and the fact that you've got these fixed paddles, you're having to grab the paddle each time, and it has that sort of Ferrari accuracy to it, which is really good. This car's infotainment system, I've had a little play with it. There's not really easy settings, like you have to go into the menu to then go into the nav. There's no shortcuts, and the screen is a little bit too small for my liking, but hey ho, who cares? Like I said, 25 years they haven't done rear-wheel drive. They've been doing front-wheel drives for quite some time, and then the 4C came along. So to do this is really good. Yes, it's not quite as sharp as the 3 Series once you start pushing it beyond it, but well, I don't know what happened there. But really, you know, most people who buy this car won't push it as hard as how I push it. But overall, it's just really good to drive. Criticisms? Well, when you get up to about 60 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour, you do get quite a bit of wing noise from the wing mirrors, which is a little bit frustrating, but you can drown it out with a bit of music. So if you're on the market, you're up for a new lease, and you want to get this as a company car, and you don't really want to go down the German route, in fact you're just looking for a saloon car full stop, I so recommend one of these, because it just brings something different to all the other saloon cars, and it's just nice. I'm so happy that Alfa Romeo have really smashed this, and it just shows. It drives well, it rides well, and it just looks beautiful, especially in grey. I wonder, maybe in blue it looked really cool too. And the next thing I want to know is, what is the Quadrifoglio like? Because, oh man. Overall conclusion with the Giulia turns out to be a more surprising car than what I expected it to be. However, one small niggle I have personally is that there's no way of fully disabling the stability control settings, which is a shame because the chassis is so well sorted. But for the majority of the people who will use this car on a day-to-day basis will enjoy its usability and outright Italian glamour. Good job, Alfa Romeo.